Hey YouTube, I've been working on a Square list for the Pro Ladder grind, and I found one that I've been having a bit of success with. Most of the deck's matchups are good. Almost all the losses I have to the deck are either against Avalok Necker Warrior deck, or Weather decks, which I don't really have good counterplay for. What are my own mistakes? The game we're going to be looking at today is a Pro Ladder game against Emhyr Spies. The mulligan plan is pretty easy. Blacklist Ales, then Skirmishers, and get rid of all the Ales, then all the Skirmishers. And if you still have mulligans left over, then you can worry about fixing your hand further. Usually these mulligans are your whole phase though, so mulligan ends up being pretty easy. We're up to the pretty good hand, but we lose the coin flip against Spies, which is always an uphill battle. This lose coin flip into open pass thing makes a lot of sense if you think about it. If your deck is favored in a long round, like a Zolt and Hailstorm deck like this, and your early round isn't so bad that they can force you down a card in the round 2, there's no reason to not just flip the coin back around on them. If they open pass in round 2, you get a long round 3. If they decide to play round 2, you have a chance to put them down a card going into round 3. You lose the ability to chicken out of a round if things go bad, but hey, we lost the coin flip. Beggars can't be choosers. Drawing an Ale healer is pretty awful. One of the big drawbacks to not playing out round 1 is you don't get to thin out your Ales, which can make your second mulligan phase really awkward. At the same time though, your opponent doesn't get to thin either, so you're mostly in the same boat. Now that he's played a card, I just need to stay ahead and I'll win the game. Same situation as if I had won the coin flip, just now I don't have a round to give up if things go bad. I don't want to use this muzzle yet. If I give him a pass to go into round 3 uneven, I want the opportunity to muzzle his Guardian as the last play to prevent a counter muzzle. I don't really mind dealing with golems, but it's absolutely crippling for his deck. It's possible that if I play something low tempo like Yavin, he'll just pass, and I get to win the game, but Kieran here feels much less greedy, and I'd rather thin out the Ales with my Mercs before playing Yavin if possible. I don't really want to stay ahead here, but none of my cards give up the round without being a signal that he should push for a 2-0. Getting Skirmisher out of my hand removes a mulligan target when I already want to be mulliganing away this Ale. I think I should just Merc here instead to enable my Yavin sooner though. Either Decree or Hailstorm would be good to have in this round. This Yavin is just bad. In-game, my justification is now that I've got an extra mulligan target out of my hand, I'm good to just go into round 3. If he passes, I obviously win the game with the muzzle, but there's no way that he'd pass here with only a 13-point deficit. If anything, this would encourage him to push for 2-0, which I really don't want. I should have just Merced to thin and waited to guarantee a powerful spell off Yavin. Thankfully, his emissaries roll badly, and I'm not seriously in danger of getting 2-0'd. I'm hovering over this operator, but there's no world where I actually want to play it. I need this operator to be my first play in round 3. One of the major weaknesses of this deck is that you don't have all that much to do on an empty board. Skirmishers are only 8 points, Mercs are 8, Sages are 7. The operator fills an important role of being a card that I can play for the first play in a round. I finally decide to start playing Mercs. He bounces my Yavin and I breathe a sigh of relief that he's not going for the 2-0. This Sage here is because I don't want him to Asir away 2 of my Ales, but that probably isn't a reasonable fear considering he hasn't seen a Sage yet. It mostly doesn't matter, since he wants to get his Silver Spies out before passing, but it's worth mentioning. I Barclay here because I want to deny as much mana value as possible. If I Ale now, the odds of it hitting a big guy with a Spying token are much larger than if I take a turn to Barclay out of a guy first. Again, he doesn't want to pass until he places Cantarella, so the thinning value doesn't matter at all. He rain farms out his Cantarella, which is pretty good for me. He burns 9 points into a round where points don't matter. Now that I don't have the last play in the round anymore, I decide to take the muzzle now and just hope he doesn't have the counter muzzle, but he does. From here until the end of the round, I'm just playing out based on what I want for round 3. I definitely want to have Agitator plus Operator for round 3. Broover into Hattori is also pretty good to have in a short round. I'd rather have Sage than Ale or Merc, so the decision is between Merc and Ale. I'm going to have a Golem in my hand for round 3 that I want to mulligan away, so I don't have a real mulligan decision. The cards in my deck that I don't want to draw are the last Skirmisher, Ale, and the last Merc. By thinning out the Ale, I drop it down to only 2 bricks in the deck, and there's no world in which I'm mulliganing away the Ale instead of the Golem, so I lead with the Merc. Anyway, he passes at a pretty good point for me. The 3 cards in my hand are worth something around 51 points, depending on what the Hattori reses. The scary mulligan phase passes. As long as I didn't draw the Skirmisher, I felt pretty good about this game, but drawing the Merc would obviously be pretty bad. 1/9 to lose the game, 1/9 to lose 5 points by hitting a Merc feels worth when pretty much every other card in my deck is worth an extra 8 points or more. He still has his Joachim, and assuming he has a Seer for Roach plus Infiltrator to enable his Menno, he's got a pretty good short round, so I can't just keep the Golem. He opts to just play out his copy, which means I need to burn another play before playing the Agitator out. So I Broover into Hattori Sage instead of the Hattori Barclay, since I get full value out of the Sage now. He has the Asir, but he puts back Nausicaa instead of his Infiltrator, so his Menno is bricked now. My Skirmishers are online, so I start taking my value. He has a bit of a Spy package left, but it's not enough points to beat the Agitators. So I've been liking this deck. You're bad against all the monsters deck except the not greedy Consume deck, but all your other matchups feel winnable. The biggest draw to this deck is the amount of raw points you can play. Agitators and Mercs are 13-point bronzes, Sages is 15-point bronze, all your silvers are crazy. Barclay is either a 16 or 18 points, Victoria is between 16 and 21, Opera is either 18 if you copy Agitator, or 21 if you copy Merc. Hailstorm can be upwards of 60 to 70 points if the round goes long enough. Most of these Ale decks have a big weakness of not being able to set things up in every row quickly, leading to a lot of awkwardness with the Ales. With this deck though, between Barclay and Agitator, you vomit enough bodies onto the board that it's impossible to disrupt your Ales, even with movement effects from your opponent. This deck definitely gets some bad hands, but not as bad as the Northern Realms decks do. And I think you're generally more powerful than the Northern Realms decks. Your bronzes have similar power, but you have the Zoltan Hailstorm finisher they just don't have access to. Anyway, it's been a while since I made a video. I wanted to share this deck that I've been working on. The video every other day didn't make much sense when the viewer base wasn't really growing, so I'll probably just be posting videos as I feel like it. Anyways, until next time.